Hey y'all, it's your girl Shambi, and welcome back to another episode of Hollywood Mixed with Shambi, the Let's Talk About It series, and this is going to be episode number 12. Alright, so today is an ongoing case. It's, in my opinion, a high profile case, and yeah, so let's talk about it. The Nolan Wells mystery, it deepens as email indicates the teen, Nolan Wells, drank heavily before vanishing. Before I get into this one, y'all, no, I have to give you my disclaimer as always. I'm in no shape, way, or form any type of law enforcement, legal professional, or medical professional. As y'all know, I'm simply just an independent podcaster. All information obtained and that I present to you was found via the law enforcement, social media, and other platforms on the internet. I do not own any rights to any of the photos and videos I enter at the end. And my trigger warning on this episode, we're going to be discussing the death of a young person, alcohol use, and an ongoing death investigation. So please take care of yourselves while y'all listen. Oh, excuse me. Okay, y'all, let's talk about it. So some might ask, who was Nolan Wells? Well, I'm going to tell you. Nolan Wells was 18 years old. He had just graduated in 2025 from the Ocean Springs High School in Ocean Springs, Mississippi. That's right outside of Biloxi. Nolan was a football player, and he was 6'1". I believe he played wide receiver. He had just enrolled recently before his death at Southwest Mississippi Community College. And he was supposed to go back after the 4th of July weekend to start training for the season. His mom, Christine Wansley, said on the evening of July 3rd, he had made his family salmon for dinner. She said it was hug, kiss, and then he left. He went to spend the night with friends before their holiday trip. They were going to take a trip before he went back to school. Like so many of us do for the 4th, he and his friends decided to take a boat out to Horn Island. It's a remote barrier island, and it's about 10 miles off of the Mississippi coast. According to records from the Mississippi Department of Marine and Resources that were obtained by CBS News and ABC News, the boat had left the mainland, they said, about 9:56 a.m. on the 4th of July. It arrived to the western tip of Horn Island around 11:14 a.m. on the 4th. He was with some of his friends from high school, and there were photos that day. And you see Nolan, he was smiling. He had his arm around his friends. He had on blue trunks and some sunglasses. At about 5:44, that same vessel came back to the mainland. But Nolan wasn't on it. What happened to Nolan, right? That's the big question. What really happened to Nolan? So his family said they got a call around 11 p.m. on the 4th of July from one of his friends. And his friend had told them that he didn't come back. When they came back to the mainland, Nolan didn't come back. That's when they reported him missing. According to the documents that they obtained by ABC News, his mom officially reported him missing at about 12:22 a.m. on the 5th of July. She then went to social media desperate for answers. She was like, what happened to my son? Where is my son? Why is my son not back? It's not like him. Like, what's going on? She said she and her husband had his cell phone, and this is a detail that stuck with me. A family friend, Tashima Hands, she used Snapchat to track his phone to a house where a lot of people were at, and it took about 15 minutes for someone to find the phone, and they gave it to her. So then his mom said she had went and looked through it. It was clean. No videos, no pictures on Snapchat from the day on the island. And she's like, no, I know my child well. As he's got a phone out all the time. So something's going on. He's definitely going to have a phone out whenever he's out and doing things with his friends. Now, the phone situation has become a big part of the investigation. According to the public reports, his family and legal team, they have raised concerns that data was most likely deleted, has been deleted. And they have issued subpoenas to major tech companies, including Facebook, Instagram, WhatsApp, Snapchat, TikTok, and the location app Life 360. Excuse me. And they're asking for the messages, the photos, the videos, and the GPS data. They're asking for all that information. So there's also been a joint forensic examination agreed upon to try to recover any of the deleted information, which we're sure there was deleted information, because that's, not just a team, but if you're going out having some fun like that with your friends, especially on a holiday, especially before you go back to school, like a last, hurrah before back to school or whatever, you want to take pictures, you want to make memories. So nothing definitive from the phone contents has been publicly released, though. On July 5th, the Jackson County Sheriff's Department, they announced they were coordinating with the U.S. Coast Guard and Mississippi Department of Marine Resources to search the island for Nolan. They launched drones over the western side of Horn Island, but the heat that day, it was, so harsh that it caused the batteries to swell and cut the flight short. All right. Let me get a drink. So, the new information, that email, this is where the new information comes in and why I titled the episode the way I did. A July 5th email from Mississippi Department of Marine Resources, Marine Patrol to the U.S. Coast Guard was just obtained by Fox News Digital. Along with Nolan's physical description and last known location, it listed alcohol intake heavy. But it does not say where that information came from. And as of right now, Nolan's official toxicology report from the Mississippi State Medical Examiner is still pending. So how would they know that if the medical, if the toxicology report is still pending? So we don't know how officials came to that conclusion. That's still, as of right now, unanswered. Mississippi Public Safety Commissioner Sean Tyndall had also had to put out a warning recently that purported toxicology report circulating on social media is fraudulent. He said, the purported toxicology report from Nolan Wells circulating through social media and various outlets is fraudulent. So them saying that alcohol intake was heavy, wherever they got that from, it's most definitely fraudulent. Somebody's coming up with something. Somebody's trying to cover their fucking tracks. Like, people are trying to cover shit here and there and everywhere. Like, they're covering. Basically, there's no way around, anything else. They're covering shit up. Where is that? Nolan's family, friends, and most importantly, Nolan himself deserve better. Officials, they emphasize no official toxicology report has been released. So that heavy alcohol, again, was definitely not real. Like, that didn't come from Nolan's toxicology. But his friend, some of the friends told deputies that when they left, Nolan was in the company of an unknown female and that he chose to remain on the island. Yeah, bullshit. That's in the Marine Patrol report. Another account from his friend Tristan Shepard, who has spoke to ABC News, said Nolan told them he met a girl and would return on another friend's boat after they were told their boat had to return due to an electrical issue. All right, so they need to check the boat that these friends returned on to see if there was an electrical issue. All right, because that could be fake as well. But his friend Javon Williams told CNN, I've never known Nolan to stay back while his friends leave. He's always been a guy where if he rode with you, he's going to come back with you. As he should. Right? As he should. His father, Elmer Wansley, said, we always taught him, if you go with a group, you stay with a group. He later told CPS Mornings, no, he wouldn't. Nolan always stays with the group. So everybody is saying, well, not everybody, because some people are trying to say he stayed on the island with some unknown girl, and saying something about electrical issues on the boat. They need a description of this unknown girl. They need to find out his official toxicology report. They need all the data from his phone. I don't know if I said check the issue for the boat yet. There's a lot of unanswered questions. The United Cajun Navy and a volunteer search and rescue group from Louisiana also joined. Their vice president told CNN that people on Horn Island that day said the beach was packed with boats and people. Some had been drinking and rip currents were strong. Why would they, you also got to ask yourself this. If you were truly his friends, why would you even want to let him stay with an unknown female? He don't know that female and y'all don't know that female. So if he was truly your fucking friend, why would you even leave him? Because you never know. Anybody can be scandalous. Anybody can set you up. Anybody can harm you. You know what I'm saying? So even if that was the case, they were in the fucking wrong for leaving him. No, we came together, we leave together, let's go. They later released a 22-page working analytical report. According to reporting on that report, it looked at boat placement, GPS data, photos, and social media comments. The report said the GPS coordinates used during search operations closely matched mapping data, and the photos consistently showed the same cluster of boats, but it concluded there is still a material gap in the timeline, and the timestamps from social screen recordings cannot be accepted as definitive without original metadata. It did not reach a conclusion about criminal or civil responsibility. So there's still a whole bunch of missing evidence. Like, they're missing a lot. What happened next? On July 6th, the search ended tragically. A body matching Nolan's description was found in the water near the shoreline on the northwest end of Horn Island. Jackson County Coroner Bruce Lynn said there were no immediate signs of physical injury, but because of the condition the body was found in, they had sent it to the state medical examiner. Why the family is asking for transparency. On July 6th, the sheriff had said there wasn't no foul play was suspected. In the statement, it did not sit well with the family or the public. Yeah, it don't sit well with me either. There's a whole lot of shit that's just not matching up. Many people online looked at the photos where Nolan appeared to be the only young black man in the group. And knowing Mississippi's painful racial history, they started asking questions. His family retained civil rights attorney Ben Crump. If you don't remember the name Ben Crump also, I believe, was there for Cherie Moore too, the young lady that was abused by the police officer. I covered her story a couple weeks ago. I believe the week before last or the week before that. So yeah, Ben Crump, attorney Ben Crump is well known. Look him up. He's definitely good. On July 7th, they retained him on July 7th. On July 10th, his mother said, I do absolutely respect law enforcement, but the accidental drowning thing, it made both me and his father uncomfortable. Why are we so quick to rush to this? What we're wanting is transparency. So it's like, from my understanding, the way his parents feel is it was like they tried to just brush a reason for his death off, just put it on accidental drowning. That's, instead of doing a proper, in detail investigation, they just wanted to brush it off on a simple conclusion. And accidental drowning is the quickest way, as they always do, right? That way, they don't got to put in the man hours of investigation, which is complete bullshit. Where are we at? Oh yeah, so the family requested a private autopsy. They had his body flown to Washington, D.C., so a doctor with no ties to Mississippi law enforcement could examine him. Smart move. The forensic pathologist hired by the Wells family, Dr. Roger Mitchell, concluded, and this is important now, cause and manner of death were undetermined pending investigation. So in other words, they couldn't tell. Which I'm assuming, again, like I told you in my disclaimer, I'm not a medical professional, so I can't say for certain. But if it was accidental drowning, why couldn't they determine them, right? So because they couldn't determine the pending investigation, that makes it even more that, the accidental drowning shit goes out the window for me, in my opinion, again. On July 22nd, news conference at the NAACP National Convention in Chicago, Attorney Crump has said Dr. Mitchell found an area of red discoloration on the back of Nolan's head, but could not determine a cause or manner of death. Pending further investigation, Crump also said at the news conference that the body had arrived without neck tissue and organs. What? Because an initial autopsy had already been performed by the state, which the pathologist noted is not unusual practice, but it made it impossible to determine if there was a neck injury or if water had entered the lungs. See, so somebody was covering shit up. Like I said, he would have been able, if they would have never did that and it was accidental drowning, he would have been able to determine right then. But because they took organs and he didn't have no neck tissue, the pathologist that his family hired was unable to determine anything. This is bullshit and crazy. Crazy as hell. I thought you had to get the family's permission to do all that, to take organs and shit. Am I wrong? Can somebody comment, am I wrong? Is there any medical professionals that might listen to this? Correct me, please, if I'm wrong, because I want to understand. Because to me, it sounds like all their beginning investigation is straight bullshit, fucked up, crazy. I feel like they're covering some shit up. As of this script, the official autopsy and toxicology results from the state are still pending and will not be released publicly. According to the officials who spoke to ABC News and NBC, the completed official autopsy will be submitted directly to Jackson County Grand Jury. District Attorney Angel Myers has said that is standard practice in her office. So they're not going to let us know publicly what the official autopsy toxicology report results are. Investigation have also asked for original unedited photos and videos from July 4th, particularly those depicting alleged altercations. In one video circulating online, you hear yelling. One of his friends, Tristan Shepard, told Rolling Stone and ABC News. In that video, you hear somebody yelling, "That is me, not Nolan." He said it was an altercation between him and a stranger. Yeah, this is, I want to say mystery because we only have opinions, but I feel strongly about my opinions. I feel like something happened to that young man out there on that island, and he was left. I don't feel like this mystery girl existed. And if she did, his friends are all the way in the wrong for fucking leaving him, because that means you were never his fucking friends. A separate but important update: threats and misinformation. Now, y'all, I was told to add this update because it's been reported by multiple news outlets, including The Guardian, People, and the Sun Herald. Several people with no apparent connection to the Nolan Wells case have been criminally charged with making threats and questions surrounding his death. No one has been charged in connection with Nolan's disappearance or death itself. According to the court records reported publicly, Michelle Francine Edwards of Cincinnati, Ohio, she was charged with one count of transmitting a threatening communication in interstate commerce. Court records allege she called the Chancery Clerk's office in George County approximately 21 times in July, saying things like, "Do not go outside, the clock is ticking," and "die," and also called the Jackson County Sheriff's Office alleging there was a bomb outside. Joseph Alfredo Vasquez de Marce, 27, of Sacramento, California, was arrested on the same charge after allegedly threatening Chancery Judge Ashley Cole, whose son was on the boat trip with Wells. According to court documents and screenshots, Judge Cole posted online a Facebook account traced to DeMarce, sent her a message saying a package was coming that would blow you away and contain threats of blood. Judge Cole wrote on Facebook, "We realize that the truth will not stop the cause for death of our small children. We also want to know what happened to Nolan. We will do everything within our power to assist Nolan's family in their quest for answers." As of August 4th, Edward James Porter, 40, was arrested on charges of transmitting threatening communications in interstate commerce after allegedly telling a witness he would come kill them and their families and sending their home address. The judge's family and Nolan's friends have said publicly they are cooperating with authorities and have been receiving death threats. Also, a Give Send Go fundraiser for 3 friends who were with Nolan that day: Warren Hudson, Jax Patalo, and Morgan Seymour has reportedly raised more than $90,000, saying they have been wrongly blamed online and need funds for anticipated legal expenses and potential defamation claims. So they're making money off of this shit. Yeah, they're saying for legal expenses, whatever, but you're making money off this shit. Y'all, this family just wants answers. They deserve answers. Nolan deserves for his family to know what happened to him. He was supposed to go back to school. He had made his family dinner the night before, and now his mother is planning what she calls a homegoing celebration for July 20th. As of this recording, it's past. Today is August 11th of 2026. But she's planning the homegoing celebration she planned it for July 20th at the Jackson County Fairgrounds, because she said he would not want us to be sitting around crying and eating. So what we're going to do is kind of have a party to celebrate him. A lot of people do that, and I don't think there's nothing wrong with that. Celebrate him. Celebrate his life. Celebrate what he had become and what he was going to be. I want answers. We all want answers. He is a young man. I say is because as long as his name is kept alive, he's still around. So he is. Everybody deserves answers. According to Attorney Crump, civil rights activist and former football player Colin Kaepernick helped fund the independent autopsy, and filmmaker Tyler Perry will be covering the funeral expenses. Hats off to you, gentlemen. At his funeral, Reverend Al Sharpton said, "For an 18-year-old young man to no longer be with us, we want answers. No bias either way, just answers. He was not on this island by himself. Somebody saw something and knows everything." Abso-fucking-lutely. I 1000% agree. A GoFundMe says he will forever be loved, forever be remembered, and never forgotten. And as Attorney Crump and Sheriff Ledbetter both have said, we have to let the facts come out. The sheriff said folks want answers 10 minutes ago, and unfortunately that takes time to get accurate information. It's going to take a lot of hard work. Okay, let me stop before I continue further. It's going to take a lot of hard work, true indeed, but it's going to take a lot of hard work that should have been done right when he came up missing. Should have been started right when he came up missing. There's so many questions that could have probably already been answered. First of all, again, are they not supposed to get permission to take his organs from his family? I really hope somebody listens to this video that can answer that. Because then the independent autopsy probably would have been of some help, would have probably provided a reason of death, a cause of death. But no, he had organs taken. He had neck tissue taken. Why in the fuck did his so-called friends even leave him on that island with some mysterious girl? That to me is not a friend. That's kind of like, friends don't let your friends drive drunk. Friends don't leave your friend alone in an unknown area. Even if he had been there before, don't leave him alone. He's around a whole bunch of people that he don't know. Check the boat out. Check this electrical issue shit out. There's so many things. Make sure you get all that missing shit from his phone. Because, again, if you go off to an amazing place like that to have a good time like that, you're going to have pictures, you're going to have videos. So why was all this shit from his phone missing? There's different things. There's so many questions they need to answer. And if they would have started this right away, then they would have probably been further along. They say, so let's be careful not to spread unverified videos, AI generated images, or rumors, and let's keep the focus on what the family's asking for: transparency, verified information, and the answers about what happened to Nolan in those final hours, why he didn't have his phone, why he stayed, and what the email about alcohol intake really means. I will keep y'all updated as the official toxicology and autopsy comes out and I see it, and as the grand jury process moves forward and I see it. Rest in peace, Nolan Wells. Prayers go out to his family and friends. Hats off to everybody that has helped in some type of way. Attorney Crump, Colin Kaepernick, Tyler Perry, yeah, and his real friends. I pray we get answers, because this is, he was technically an adult, but he was still young, 18 years old. He still had a whole life. He had just recently graduated, was getting ready to go to college, continue his football career in college. It's really fucked up. Really. Hats off to Reverend Al Sharpton for being there. So yeah. With that being said, I'm going to go ahead and bring this interview to a close. Well, not interview, excuse me. This episode to a close. Before I do that, I want to leave y'all with: hold your loved ones close. Always communicate. I don't care if you're with friends. Communicate with something you trust more than a friend, a family member. Make sure there's several people at one time that always know where you are. Don't take life for granted. If you are out there and you're close to this case, if you know something, say something. He deserves answers. His family deserves answers. His real friends deserve answers. Whoever did something to him most definitely needs to fucking be held accountable. So yeah. Until next week, everyone take care of yourself. This your girl Shambi. Thank you for listening to this episode of Hollywood Mix, the podcast. Let's talk about it, episode number 12. And I love you all. Bye.
The body of Nolan Wells was brought after it was recovered from the water. And his death, his mysterious death, has truly devastated this community. We're hearing now for the first time, Robin, from an eyewitness, a friend of Wells who was with him on that fateful July 4th boat trip.
I just know I've lost my best friend.
This morning, a friend of Nolan Wells, who was with the 18-year-old the day he was last seen alive, is sharing what he says happened during a July 4th boat trip to an isolated barrier island off the Mississippi Gulf Coast. Trayston Shepard declined to speak with us on camera because he says he and his friends are getting threats.
We did no wrong here, and we don't understand how we're getting so much hate behind it. We all cared and loved Nolan, and nobody wanted to see Nolan die. Nobody wanted to see his life be taken so short.
Shepard addressed this viral video that investigators have been studying. Wells's parents worried it showed their son involved in a confrontation, but Shepard said that's him, not Wells.
That's the video I'm referring to. That's me yelling.
Shepard says he took a boat back from Horn Island in the late afternoon, but Wells stayed behind with a girl he had met.
They met that day, and it was kind of one of those things. It did come off that day that he really did like her, but that was the only time they'd ever hung out, was at Horn Island on July 4th.
Investigators believe Wells drowned and say there were no immediate signs of foul play. But there is growing frustration in the community, and his parents are skeptical, telling GMA Wells left his phone behind and they tracked it to one of his friends.
It was showing everywhere the phone had been, I was like, well, it's showing that he's back on land.
The sheriff said the parents have not turned over the phone to investigators. Their lawyers said they will. While the investigation goes on, Trayston Shepard wants the focus on his friend.
I want everybody just to relax and let everybody mourn the loss of Nolan, and let us remember him as in like the sweet guy. I think everybody needs to let the investigation continue and let the facts be shown.
Shepard has spoken with the police guys, and the sheriff told us that both he and all of Wells's friends have been cooperative. We're still waiting on the results of the official autopsy and the independent autopsy the family has ordered, hoping to get the Wells family the answers that they so desperately seek.
Chris Como, Nolan is dead. We're going to dot every I, we're going to cross every T, we're going to look under every rock. His mother called his phone repeatedly with no answer. That raises questions. That's all we want to get to is answers. If this was your child, Chris Como, wouldn't you want to ask every question possible for everybody who was on Horn Island to say, did you see what happened to Nolan? What happened? Where was he at? And that's all they're asking, and people are attacking them for trying to get answers. Can you imagine that? She's getting attacked at her job. She's getting bad job reviews. She had never gotten any in her entire career. And now, since she's been going on TV saying, I want to get answers for my son, she's been attacked by sick individuals trying to, I guess, in some way discourage them from continuing to say his name and say that we won't let it be swept under the rug.
I understand that. Obviously, that's why we're all together right now, right? Christine, I want to make sure that you have the opportunity to get these answers. Do you believe, or do you have any reason to believe, that this investigation is doing exactly what you want it to do?
Sure. Well, we know at the beginning they started out saying there was no foul play even before there was any investigation, Chris. So that was a concern to them at day one.
That was the trigger for why we felt we had to go this route, because it wasn't even hours after they had found his body where I'm watching on the news that the sheriff is saying likely an accidental drowning. We do not feel there's any foul play, but yet stories are not lining up. And so from there, that's why we're here now.
Elmore, again, I really don't know how you guys are holding it together and being able to stay focused. But I'm here for it as long as there is the need. When you look at this situation, what is your darkest concern that you just want to make sure isn't true?
I've already lived my darkest concern. We just want the truth. We just want someone to be brave enough to stand up and give us the truth. We can't grieve the way we need to because we're being disrespected. We're being called all kind of racist, bad parents. We were not raised like that, and we did not raise our children like that. So we just want the truth. Any parent would want that. Any father would want that.
Understood.
Any mother.
Understood and true. And I know that we know one thing, and I know that this is not a time for solace, but there's one thing that has become constant in this story. You raised a beautiful young man who everybody sees exactly through that lens, that he was everything that you would want a son to have. And I have one just about that age. And everything I hear is exactly what you would want to hear, even in this young life. So God bless Nolan and his memory, and we will stay on this story and get the answers as soon as they can come. And if we can help in any way, that's why we're here. Counsel, thank you for making this happen. Christine, I mean it, we're a call away. And Elmore, I'm very impressed by your strength and your focus in this moment. God bless, and we'll be here.
Chris Como, Nolan is dead. We're going to dot every I, we're going to cross every T, we're going to look under every rock. His mother called his phone repeatedly with no answer. That raises questions. That's all we want to get to is answers. If this was your child, Chris Como, wouldn't you want to ask every question possible for everybody who was on Horn Island to say, did you see what happened to Nolan? What happened? Where was he at? And that's all they're asking, and people are attacking them for trying to get answers. Can you imagine that? She's getting attacked at her job. She's getting bad job reviews. She had never gotten any in her entire career. And now, since she's been going on TV saying, I want to get answers for my son, she's been attacked by sick individuals trying to, I guess, in some way discourage them from continuing to say his name and say that we won't let it be swept under the rug.
I understand that. Obviously, that's why we're all together right now, right? Is Christine, I want to make sure that you have the opportunity to get these answers. Do you believe, or do you have any reason to believe, that this investigation is doing exactly what you want it to do?
Sure. Well, we know at the beginning they started out saying there was no foul play even before there was any investigation, Chris. So that was a concern to them at day one.
That was the trigger for why we felt we had to go this route, because it wasn't even hours after they had found his body where I'm watching on the news that the sheriff is saying likely an accidental drowning. We do not feel there's any foul play, but yet stories are not lining up. And so from there, that's why we're here now.
Elmore, again, I really don't know how you guys are holding it together and being able to stay focused. But I'm here for it as long as there is the need. When you look at this situation, what is your darkest concern that you just want to make sure isn't true?
I've already lived my darkest concern. We just want the truth. We just want someone to be brave enough to stand up and give us the truth. We can't grieve the way we need to because we're being disrespected. We're being called all kind of racist, bad parents. We were not raised like that, and we did not raise our children like that. So we just want the truth. Any parent would want that. Any father would want that.
Understood.
Any mother.
Understood and true. And I know that we know one thing, and I know that this is not a time for solace, but there's one thing that has become constant in this story. You raised a beautiful young man who everybody sees exactly through that lens, that he was everything that you would want a son to have. And I have one just about that age. And everything I hear is exactly what you would want to hear, even in this young life. So God bless Nolan and his memory, and we will stay on this story and get the answers as soon as they can come. And if we can help in any way, that's why we're here. Counsel, thank you for making this happen. Christine, I mean it, we're a call away. And Elmore, I'm very impressed by your strength and your focus in this moment. God bless, and we'll be here.
Ryan, are these three friends suspected of anything by police?
No, and that's something that we should make very clear in terms of police have never really given us a clear definition of how or why or how they may be involved moving forward. We believe interviews have been done with all three of them, but they have not been accused of anything right now. In fact, we've never named the three teens because of that. But now that the lawyers have stepped forward and say they're all going to this island, we've decided to name them. Warren Hudson, Jack Patalo, and Morgan Seymour all say they're going back out to this island to do their own investigation. Now, Horn Island, of course, is an area that everyone's been focused on after Nolan Wells went missing. You got to think about it. It's been more than a month, Jake. But at the same time, people have so many questions about how this case will move forward. And on top of that, you also have to consider that not only has the sheriff gone silent in this case, but the DA's office has gone silent as they continue this investigation. Let's not forget about that autopsy that we believe is in some sort of process right now. And we're not sure, has it ended? Has toxicology reports come back? But today's focus was going to be on that island. Now, the attorneys put out a statement, but at the same time, as we reached out throughout the day to figure out have they been to the island, no one has responded to CNN just yet. We would love to talk to these three men, but at this point, we're not even sure if they completed that investigation today on that island.
You've been following the Nolan Wells story, and it's been so disturbing, especially to anyone who's a mother, who's a Black mother. I know I've been really disturbed by it. But today I'm here in Nashville because in a little while I'm going to be sitting down with Nolan Wells' mother, Christina. And also, I don't know if you're aware, but this is a trend that seems just so alarming in our country. And we're going to be looking at a couple of other cases that are also equally mysterious. Two other 18-year-old boys who also within 3 months of Nolan Wells, that happened to also be African American, lost their lives, and no clues.
We are not deterred. We're not going to let you sweep it under the rug. We're going to get to the answers of what happened to Nolan Wells, what happened to Daniel Irvins, and what happened to Tyler Smith. 3 18-year-old Black boys in a 3-month period around 4th of July, 2026, who all were unalived in very similar ways as Nolan Wells.
And a lot of people talk about race and say that this is based on race and, why is this family crying out for answers, turning this into a Black issue. But I'm here to tell you that this has so little to do with race and so much to do with humanity.
He loved everyone. He was the person who would just make you feel comfortable just being in his space.
A new challenge every morning, waking up, trying to process this. It's the biggest challenge I've ever had.
You and I cannot even fathom the pain of these families.
I'm going to have an opportunity to sit with each of these mothers, Tyler's mother, Nolan's mother, and Daniel's mother together to talk about the death threats, to talk about all of the threats that they're getting on social media. But most importantly, we're going to sit down with them in a compassionate way and talk about who these beautiful boys were and who they were supposed to be. And that is the reason that we should all be coming together. If you want to make America great again, let's come together and hold hands and pray for these families.
First, I want to give all thanks and honor and glory to God for choosing Elmore and me to be Nolan's parents. We thank you, Lord, for the beautiful 18 years that you blessed us with him. Thank you for the joy he brought not only to our family, but also to his friends and everyone in the community whose lives he touched. Nolan had such a gentle, calming spirit about him. He had a way of making people feel seen, welcome, and valued. He could lift your confidence with just a few words and make you feel like you belonged. If you ever had the privilege of meeting our son Nolan or calling him a friend, then you experienced a glimpse of God's love through him. He was both protective and nurturing. He often told us that one day he wanted to have 3 daughters that he would name Sophia, Charlotte, and Olivia. He had a deep love for the Lord and an unwavering faith that was evident in the way he lived his life. As much as our hearts are broken, we find peace in knowing that our son is resting in the arms of the Lord. We will miss everything about him, from his quiet nature to the corny jokes, his gentle smile, the way he made everyone around him feel comfortable, loved, and at ease. Your absence has left an emptiness that can never truly be filled. A piece of our hearts will always be missing. Nolan, your father and I are incredibly proud of you. We've always been proud of you, of the young man you were, and we will always be proud of the legacy of love, kindness, and faith that you have left behind. In a world that can often feel dark, be like Nolan. Be the light that brightens the lives of those around you. Be the warmth for those who may be feeling the coldness of the world. Love deeply, protect fiercely, and welcome others with kindness. And remain faithful knowing that God is always with you. Lastly, I ask that each of you keep Nolan's memory alive. Hold him close in your hearts. Share his stories and never stop saying his name. As long as we continue to remember him, his light will continue to shine through us all. Nolan, we love you. We'll continue to fight for you. Yes. And until we meet again, and thank you all for coming. Thank you.
I saw the Lord, he heard and he answered. I saw the Lord, he heard and he answered. That's why I trust him. He heard and he answered. I saw the Lord, heard and he answered. I saw the Lord, he heard and he answered.